You know, my mom used to have a saying. She smoked, and she smoked for years. She smoked probably until she was in her mid 50s when she got saved and delivered. But, she had this idea that other people's sin was worse. My dad drank, he was an alcoholic, so that sin was worse than her smoking. And she was very clear about that. And she goes, my sin doesn't hurt anybody else, because my dad's sin would hurt other people. He would get drunk, he would do things, he would harm people verbally or sometimes physically. And my mom thought that her smoking didn't affect anybody else other than her. Now, I realized that in the time that I was growing up, that was maybe what the medical community believed. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check that. But the reality is I have 4 siblings, and we also brought another child in to live with us. And out of the 6 of us, 4 of my siblings grew up and they smoked. And they didn't just smoke a little. They started smoking very early. They were all around 13, 14, maybe 15 at the latest when they started smoking. And they smoked well into their 50s and still or their 60s. And I still have a sibling that is still smoking. So the reality is we can look at our sin and we can say it's not hurting anybody else. But the truth is it does. And let's just take the physical, but let's go into the spiritual component as well. Sin carries a price tag, always carries a price tag. And with that price tag, whether you do something in private or whether you do something publicly, there is a spiritual opening that you have created, not just for yourself, but for that to run down into your generations. And so we need to be aware that our actions, they bear fruit. All of them. So when we look and we go into what Eve did when she took the fruit off the tree, she ate it. And then she enjoyed it. She thought it was pretty good. And so she decided she was going to share it. And she took some and she gave it to her husband as well. And he ate it. And we see this progression. So the other thing that I want to point out here is that, why did Adam take the fruit? Why did Adam take the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Because he was there when God said, don't eat the fruit of this tree. But he took it and he ate it. Well, he did it because he trusted her. My siblings started to drink and I drank too. As does my youngest brother. We all drink because you trust your parents. My older siblings all trusted my mother, and so they smoked. There is this thing when you put somebody in a situation, you go, I trust them, that you become open to the things that they participate in. I didn't like smoking. I didn't like the smell of it. I didn't like how it hung on your clothes. I think I tried it once. I didn't like the taste of it. It was disgusting. And I did not like the fact that on a hot day when you're stuck in a car and the windows are all rolled up, you can't breathe when you're in that environment. So I'm thinking, if I can't breathe when it's in the environment I'm in, what is it doing to me that I can't see? So I never did smoke, and my youngest brothers never smoked either. But I think in all of those things, we look at it, we can go, my sin doesn't affect anybody else. Yes, it does. Spiritually speaking, it absolutely does. And it does impact, and it does affect who we are, and it affects the generations after us. Not to mention the people that are around us. Not to mention the things that are happening in the spirit realm. If we could see in the spirit, if we could see the way that Jesus sees, I think that we would have a very different outlook on the things that we do and the things that we participate in, because we would see that nothing is ever isolated. There's never anything that does never affect another individual. So for today, I just want to say, you know what? Let's consider the things that we do, because the things we do, they have an impact spiritually. So let's walk in righteousness. Let's walk in holiness. Let's walk in good deeds and love. Let's walk in faith. Let's do that, because that's where God wants us to walk. Have yourself a great day. God is with you. He is for you. He loves you, and he's got a great plan for your life.